Mercury is going to be going retrograde, and we have a new moon coming up in Sagittarius this week on Tuesday, December 12th. So let's talk about that. I also want to share some information with you about what to expect in 2024 from a planetary perspective and how we can be thinking about where we are at, how we can be empowered and make the most of the cycles of the planets as things unfold and as we head into 2024 and imagine the future even beyond that. So, but first, let's talk about the upcoming new moon and Mercury going retrograde. I'm Marina Ormes here with your Astro Vibe for Saturday, December 9th. And what we are looking at today is the new moon that will be on Tuesday, December 12th, and also that same day, Mercury stationing, slowing down, changing directions to go retrograde late in the day on the 12th. So that's my time, Pacific time in the United States. If you are on the East Coast or another time zone, it might be on the 13th, technically, that Mercury stations to go retrograde. So let's take a look at what it means for the coming moon cycle, for this holiday time of year, time when we might be slowing down, going inward, focusing on family and what that might look like. So first of all, we're heading into a new moon in Sagittarius. And that means we'll be completing the current moon cycle, current as of when I'm sharing this video, which is on December 9th. So we're completing the Scorpio moon cycle. We're winding down that time of going inward, of doing that scorpionic transformation as we access deeper truths, connect with a place of mystery and the unknown to access deeper places of truth and power. So it's kind of intense energy, this scorpionic energy. And as we wrap up the current moon cycle, that's with more of that intensity, more of that inward focus, thinking about what we need on deeper levels, how we're processing things emotionally. We're going to be wrapping that up and beginning the Sagittarius moon cycle. So as we shift from Scorpio to Sagittarius, we shift from that deep inward sort of intense, transformational, more dealing more with truth and power and intimacy and trust and those deeper places of feeling things. Then we shift into Sagittarius, where we find meaning. So Sagittarius is all about how we make meaning of or understand what we've been going through. And that Sagittarian focus brings a focus on the story we tell, the conclusions we come to, right? So it's going to speak to how we understand, or the context, the framework that we want to create for ourselves going forward based on the inner transformational work we've been doing. So how do we want to tell that story? How do we want to take some of those deeper feelings and deeper processes and put them into something that we can use to explain what it is? So creating a narrative, telling a story, creating that philosophy or unity, or somehow synthesizing, integrating the information to then be able to put it into some sort of story or explanation. So the Sagittarius energy helps us move from that place of where we go through the scorpionic transformation, make sense of it, right? And then move forward based on the conclusions we reach from how we explain what's been happening. So we've got that energy of shifting into a storytelling time of year. The sun goes into Sagittarius. We have more of a focus on, think about, traditionally the energy of the sun in Sagittarius is wintertime. It's when we're going indoors, the days are short, the nights are long, we're sitting around the fire telling stories. We're talking about what's been how we're making meaning, or telling stories of our creative processes of the past, our previous journeys. Sagittarius itself can be about a journey, but it can also be about a journey we might take in our minds through telling stories. Sagittarius likes travel, right? And that fits with the themes around the holidays of visiting family, or having vacations, taking some time off, doing something different, having that journey of sorts. So with the upcoming Sagittarius moon cycle, we're looking at those kinds of themes, and we can't leave out the fact that Mercury is stationing retrograde on the same day as the new moon in Sagittarius. So within a few hours of the exact new moon, we have Mercury stationing to change directions and go retrograde. Lots of people talk about Mercury retrograde. It's kind of a popular theme in astrology. Lots of people want to know, what is the big deal about Mercury going retrograde? So Mercury basically is the planet of communication, of thinking, of ideas, of problem solving, and mental processes. So when Mercury goes retrograde, it is a review. We're going backward over old territory related to our ideas, our thinking, the words that we've chosen, the ways that we have processed ideas, and our problem solving approaches. So during Mercury retrograde in general, you might find yourself reviewing old wording, old thinking, reviewing, reconsidering, redoing, going over old ideas, or old things that you've thought through. So as we work on shifting or going retrograde with Mercury, we're redoing some of our old thinking. What happens is that we're not moving forward with our thinking, right? So we're not taking those leaps forward. We're not putting the announcements out there, or reaching conclusions, or really like going to the next step. We're going backward. We're going inward. We are getting things right. And so the energy of Mercury retrograde is like, what do you have the opportunity to rethink, to reconsider, to go over again, so you can ask yourself if you really have it the way you want it. Okay, so what happens when we put that together with the Sagittarius new moon and the seed planting of the new moon, this time when we want to begin a cycle, and we put that together with the energy of our thinking not going forward. So what that might look like is people getting really set in their ways, in their thinking. There's not a lot of new developments in thought. As we work through this Mercury retrograde period, we're not really open to change, or proactively doing things new or differently. Then we also have the planet that rules Sagittarius to consider. And the planet that rules Sagittarius, again, new moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is important for this moon cycle. The ruling planet of Sagittarius is Jupiter. Jupiter is in Taurus. Taurus is an earth sign that can get pretty set in its ways. It really can be stubborn. It can be, very stuck on things making sense, things being tangible, things being done the way they've always been done. This is how we do it. This is what we think. When we put together the themes of how we're telling the story, what is our philosophy, how are we going to put meaning to our experience, and then you add that together with Mercury going retrograde and Jupiter in Taurus, and what you have is, this is not going to be a 3-week period of a lot of movement. So think about it in terms of coming together with family for the holidays, right? It's not going to be that holiday where you convince someone of your way of thinking or where you change minds. I mean, I'm not saying it can't be, but what we want to be thinking about is more about how we focus on our own argument, right? So we want to think more in terms of review and reflection, reconsidering. How am I telling the story? How am I putting words to this idea? How am I explaining it? How am I going about my sharing my point of view or getting an idea across? Say you are a person in business and you're working on your marketing language on your website. This is not a time to be really like implementing a whole lot of new language. It's more about reflection. It's more about asking yourself, well, how is that landing? What is that achieving? What happens when, I put these colors on my website even, right? Colors can communicate feelings. It's a kind of communication. So it's really more about, not so much about making change that is going to be proactive and moving forward. And it's more about asking ourselves those deeper questions, looking inward, doing the analysis. This is a great time for data analysis or reevaluating, or really thinking deeply about what we're putting out there, why, how, and what kind of results we're getting, and whether we want to take a step back and do it differently. Now, so that could apply to your Uncle Joe at your family holiday meal. It could apply to something you're putting out there in the world in terms of your creative work. It could apply to how you're communicating with coworkers and patterns you have in your relationship with someone, where, maybe shifting the dynamic of how you talk about something could be creating that deeper shift that will help you move forward in the relationship, help to heal some old places of conflict, perhaps. So it's a really good time to not try to change a whole lot, but instead to do that deeper reflection, that deeper looking inward, asking the questions, asking those deeper questions like, what is the message I'm putting out there? Is it effective? Is it achieving what I want? What kind of results is it getting? And how could I change that messaging? What would it look like? What would it feel like to say something a little differently, or to understand to come to a new understanding within myself about what I'm trying to achieve or trying to communicate, or the results I am wanting to experience. So it's a time of review, of reflection, of looking more deeply into how we think about things, the words we choose, the approaches we use, the strategies we work within. So that is kind of how we want to be thinking about the upcoming moon cycle is, and there is definitely that potential for a lot of stubbornness in our communication, a lot of attachment to our point of view, right? So if you notice yourself having an attachment to your point of view or feeling inflexible, having a hard time maybe hearing what the other person is saying because you are so convinced or attached to your point of view that you can't change, adapt, think about it a little differently, listen a little more deeply, right? So that thing that you want Uncle Joe at the holiday meal to hear is also happening within you, right? What is it you are not able to hear? How are you not changing in the ways that you might be invited to shift, that might be more powerful, more effective, help you move forward, help you achieve some of the things you want? And so we really are beginning this moon cycle with this Sagittarius new moon, where we want to be careful about the instinct to get it more and more entrenched in our point of view, or to want to maybe isolate ourselves from people who don't share our point of view, and instead bring in a little flexibility into those boundaries, bring in a little bit of deeper listening, of deeper reflection, instead of just having a knee-jerk reaction. Say, okay, I'm going to go think about that. I don't see it right now, but I'll think about it. Sure, I'll go look into it and educate myself a little bit more, and then take a step back. This is what Mercury retrograde is for. It's for learning about things at a deeper level. It's for reconsidering our thinking, our choices, our wording, our messaging. And so it doesn't mean we have to change it, because maybe you'll find, hey, my ideas, I believe in them even more now that I've investigated a little more deeply, right? Now that I've asked some deeper questions, or demonstrated some flexibility in my thinking, maybe I found out that the thing I believe is even more convincing than it was before, but now I have better words to explain it, or now I have a deeper sense of conviction because I understand more deeply where that perspective is coming from and why I believe in it. So that's how we want to think about this upcoming moon cycle, the Sagittarius new moon, beginning this new moon cycle, and thinking about the narrative, the story, the messaging, the communication, the ideas we have, and the ways that we incorporate or explain those ideas. Because as we go through the Mercury retrograde period, it's truly an opportunity to review, reflect, reconsider, ask deeper questions, and look at where we may be a little bit stuck in our ways or inflexible, and also being patient with others who might be inflexible or stuck in their ways. Because when we have patience, when we show up with genuine caring, with genuine curiosity, it creates the space for ideas to change, right? It creates the space for all of us to let go of some of our attachments and see a better path forward. And that's a great way to think about this Sagittarius moon cycle: is what is the path forward? What is the journey? What does that journey look like when we are letting go of old ways of thinking, when we are opening to new learning, new ways of framing things, new ways of understanding things, and are changing our beliefs, the ideas that our beliefs are based on even. So that's what I have for you for the upcoming December 12th Sagittarius new moon and Mercury going retrograde. And that Mercury is going to be going retrograde through Capricorn, backing into Sagittarius, and then stationing direct a couple days after Christmas. So I think it's around the 27th, Mercury stations direct, and We'll move back through Sagittarius and then into Capricorn and go forward from there. So while Mercury's in Capricorn, it's really about the structure of our ideas, the foundations of our thinking, the ways we organize our thinking, our words, our ideas, and then going back into Sagittarius, the things we believe in, the story we're telling, the narrative. And so this Mercury retrograde period is in so many ways just going to be about in what ways are we stuck in old thinking, and how are others around us stuck in that old thinking, and what are some of the ways we can be flexible to accommodate change. The ongoing natural evolutionary changes, the ways that we're learning and growing and adapting to what we're learning. So and then tomorrow I'll share a little bit more with you about what to expect in 2024. We're heading into a year where Pluto will go into Aquarius. That's the biggest change really coming up in 2024. It's also, of course, an election year in the United States. So I'll take a look at the chart of the upcoming presidential election and election day in 2024. We'll see what kind of dynamics are going on around that time. And so I'll be back tomorrow with more to share with you about that. Just to quickly give you some perspective on where we're at right now. The moon is in Scorpio, and been in Scorpio all weekend. So the weekend heading into, as we go through the moon in Scorpio before it heads into Sagittarius, getting ready for that new moon, we're completing some of those Scorpio themes, some opportunity to revisit the beginning of this moon cycle when the moon was in Scorpio at the new moon. And so bringing some completion, some review to the work we've been doing, just kind of acknowledging, recognizing, and having gratitude for the transformational process, the ways that trust and mystery have shown up in your life, the ways you've had to confront the unknown, and what that is looking like for you, how you are changing, how you are transforming in mysterious ways. And then as the moon shifts into Sagittarius and heads into its new moon phase, we will have a chance to think more about the bigger picture and what it all means. So thanks so much for being here with me. I'll be back tomorrow to share more with you about what to expect in 2024. I'm Marina Ormes, and you can learn more about me at astrologyheals.com. Thanks so much for being here and for subscribing. You can always hit the subscribe button now if you haven't yet. It's something I deeply appreciate, and it does support my work. It's totally free. So thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Tell your friends, and thanks so much. I will see you next time with more astrology for unshakable self-care. Bye for now.